Okay, again, reminders ha, make sure nakamute kayo. Okay. So, to continue with our lesson on proteins, okay, so most hopefully, dapat by 10:30 mag-cover ko na pati yung fats. Kasi after that, I will be giving you time to be with your group members, okay, according to the groupings that I sent last night. Okay, so follow the grouping. Okay, so may activity na ipapagawa ko sa inyo. Okay, so medyo lengthy siya but I will ask for partial output lang para may masubmit kayo sa akin for today. Okay, so you'll find out about that activity later. Itapusin muna natin itong C lecture. Okay, so to continue, another function of our protein is it serves as a transport system. Okay, so we have hemoglobin. Okay, so our hemoglobin carries oxygen from the lungs to the body cells. Okay, and we have lipoproteins. Okay, so our lipoproteins transport the package of proteins and lipids around the body. Okay, and next we have albumin. So albumin is responsible for transporting substances and drugs by the body. Okay? So that's for the transport function of protein. Just wait for the page to load. Okay. Another function of of our proteins is that they serve in acid-base balance. So protein protects one another by gathering up extra acid or hydrogen ions when there are too many in the surrounding medium. Then they release them when they are too few. Okay, so by accepting and releasing hydrogen ions, proteins act as buffers. So they are reserved that will maintain the acid balance of the blood and body fluids. However, in cases of imbalance, okay, so this can be fatal and this could lead to acidosis and alkalosis. Okay, so protein denaturation. Okay, so the main thing that you have to remember about this one is that it aids in acid-base balance. Okay. Ito siya, itong si acidosis and alkalosis. Okay, this might be too complicated for you to understand right now. Okay, anyway, meron siyang separate na concept that you will be having when you reach third year. Okay, so mag-analyze kayo ng mga acidosis and alkalosis scenarios. Okay, that's for your third year. Okay, so don't worry, I will not overload this. Okay, so another function of our proteins is antibodies. Okay, so this is a protein that are synthesized by the body in response to the presence of foreign substance in the body. Okay, so for immune function. Okay, so antibodies are created rather by white blood cells or more specifically the B cells. Okay, six, okay, so proteins also serve as hormones. Okay, so the blood messenger molecule. Some are proteins by nature. Okay, so proteins that act as hormones, definitely insulin and glucagon. Okay, so proteins, in short, they have a wide range of function. Okay, okay, another function of protein is that they serve in growth, maintenance, and repair. So amino acid is the one used to build proteins of all of its tissues. We also have collagen. Okay, so this serves as the mending material of torn tissues, forming scars to hold the separated parts together. So we also have this concept called protein turnover. So this is the entire process of breakdown, recovery, and synthesis. Okay? So that is why no, yung mga especially in instances na we have patients who are burn victims or even yung mga post-surgery patients, they are often advised to have increased protein in their diet. Okay, to help aid in their recovery. Okay, kasi nakaka-repair siya ng tissues natin. Okay, so next, our proteins also provide energy glucose. So if fats and carbohydrates fail to supply sufficient energy, the body dismantles the protein tissues and uses them for energy. Okay, so yung pinaka-priority for our energy consumption or energy storage is yung fats natin and carbohydrates. However, in the absence or in the lack of fats and carbohydrates, don't papasok si protein. Okay, again, itong si protein also serves as storage for our energy. Okay, so the overtime energy deprivation or starvation always incurs wasting of lean body tissues as well as fat loss. Okay, so another thing to remember about our proteins is that they also serve as energy storage natin or our emergency energy source. Okay? So that's for the eighth function. Okay, next, we also have this picture of your amino acid functions. Okay, so just for you again to be familiarized, now, for visual learners, you may take some time to view this picture for you to help for you to remember the functions of our proteins better. Okay. So next we have a discussion on associated conditions with regards to protein disorders or protein imbalances. Okay. So first we have protein energy malnutrition. Okay, so this or your PEM for short. This is the major cause of death in children worldwide. So this often strikes early in childhood, but endangers many adults as well. So you would usually see this in countries such as Africa, Central America, South America, Middle East, and South and East Asia. Okay, so we have two forms of your PEM. So number one, we have kwashiorkor, and then secondly, marasmus. Okay, so we're going to see, have a more better description of this. Ito siya. Ito yung itsura ng patient or bata with marasmus. Okay, so this affects children less than, or infants less than 2 years old. It is characterized by severe deprivation or impaired absorption of proteins, energy, vitamins, and minerals. Okay, so this develops slowly. Okay, this is your chronic protein energy malnutrition. And then, one of the telltale signs or yung mga significant features nito is severe weight loss. You can also notice severe muscle wasting with fat loss. Okay, so nawawala yung integrity ng muscles. Okay, so yung firm siya dapat. Okay, but then because of protein energy malnutrition, nawawalan yung muscle content ng ating, muscle content ng body. Okay? Plus the fat loss. Now, as for growth, is less than 60% weight for age. Okay, so there's also no detectable edema, no fatty liver. Psychologically wise, okay, so your patient may also exhibit anxiety and apathy. Apathy, yung may indifferent. Okay, so appetite may be normal or impaired. Now, as for hair, okay, hair is sparse, thin, dry, and easily pulled out. And the skin is dry, thin, and cold. So this is the picture of your patient with marasmus. Okay, so this is, I believe, African patient. Okay, so in areas where starvation is a big problem. Okay, so may ganitong mga cases. Okay, so that's for your marasmus. Next, you have your kwashiorkor. Okay, so kwashiorkor, maklaro ninyo? Or do I have to zoom in? Zoom ko lang din. Okay, so posture 4 affects older children and young children from 1 to 3 years old. Okay, so this is characterized by inadequate protein intake. May protein sources naman available. However, konti lang talaga. Okay, so in contrast to your marasmus, rapid onset itong si posture 4. Okay, so it progresses faster. Okay, so it's rapid, but then acute siya. Okay, for a short time po ito. Okay, so you can see some weight loss. There's also muscle wasting with retention of some body mass. So if you compare it to your patient with marasmus, ito siya, medyo may laman ito siya. Okay? Growth is 60 to 80% weight for age. And then, yung pinaka-difference nila, meron silang edema. Okay? Or accumulation in fluid, especially in the abdominal area. Okay? So, they also have enlarged fatty liver. They also may exhibit apathy, misery, okay, irritability, or even sadness. Okay, so just to add, they may also exhibit restlessness. They experience appetite loss, and their hair is dry and brittle, again, easily pulled out. They change color, and sometimes they even become straight. Okay, so the skin develops lesions. Okay, so this is your patient with kwashiorkor. Okay. So next we have instances wherein there are excess protein. There is an excess of protein. Okay, so in the excess of protein, the patient may have heart disease. They are at risk of having heart disease. Why? Because meats are generally high in saturated fats and they are known contributor to atherosclerosis and heart disease. Yung mga pork dyan, yung mga meats that are cooked with extra fat or those meats na may fat content na prior. Okay? Next, the higher the intake of protein from red meats and high-fat dairy products, the greater the risk of heart attack. Okay? So, and if protein from plants are used as substitute for meat, this actually lowers the risk of dying from heart disease. So, this is a good thing to remember, especially if you would be doing your diet, your recipe modification activity weeks from now, to replace, to you to use as a stand-in for red meat, you can make use of plant-based protein. Okay? So yung mga examples so far that I've encountered, yung mga vegan-based na burger patties. Okay? So mas healthy siya. Okay? Okay. So next one, another instance wherein there is protein excess, okay, so kidney disease. Okay, so increased protein intake will definitely increase urine output. Okay, so when there is increased protein intake, this increases the work of kidneys and may worsen existing kidney disease. Kaya, pag may na-encounter kayong patient with any kidney disorder, renal disease, or renal disease, no, any disease na related to kidneys, you would anticipate that the doctor will always prescribe low protein or no protein at all in the diet. Okay? Kasi mas mag-increase yung work ng kidney. Okay? Okay, and next, we have adult bone loss. Okay, so this increases protein intake, leading to increase in urinary calcium excretion. Okay, to compensate, you have to increase the intake of vitamin D along with protein. So then, usually, I would notice this with my kidney patients before. Marami silang mga supplements and included here is si vitamin D. Kasi nawawalan sila ng calcium. Okay, so actually, no, yung mga patients ko with renal disease before, ang dami-dami nila mga supplements. Okay? So, ang ma-remember ko, definitely, may calcium supplement sila, may vitamin D, okay? Tapos yung mga, meron siyang, ano, I remember yung essentiale, yung parang, ano, multivitamins. Okay? Basta marami silang mga vitamin supplements to make up for the excretion of needed vitamins and minerals in their body. Okay? Okay, next one. Okay, so next we tackle nitrogen balance. Okay, so when it comes to your nitrogen balance, okay, so nitrogen intake is equal to nitrogen output. Okay, so protein synthesis balances with protein degradation or yung breakdown. So nitrogen intake from protein in food balances nitrogen excretion in the urine, feces, and sweat. Okay, so kung ano yung nitrogen na pumapasok sa katawan natin, yun din ang amount of nitrogen that will be going out of our bodies. Okay, so that's basically your nitrogen balance. Okay. So negative nitrogen balance. Degradation increases, then synthesis like in starvation or suffering from stress such as burns, infection, and breakdown of muscle cells. Okay, that's your negative nitrogen balance. Okay. Next, you have your positive nitrogen balance. So, synthesis increases, then it degrades. Okay, so mas marami yung nitrogen content sa ating body. The body adds protein for growth and development in infants, children, adolescents, and pregnant women because there are new blood, bones, and muscular cells to their bodies. Okay, so definitely the most beneficial one is the positive nitrogen balance because nandito natin makikita yung growth, development, and repair within our bodies. Okay, so this here is a video on protein digestion. I'm just going to share this link na lang later. Okay? Hala. Text, ano, picture slide pala ito. Okay, so you may just screenshot this one, okay, and you may retrieve or you may watch the link to this video, okay, when you have time. Okay, so that's for your protein. Ayan. Okay, so I guess we can proceed to fats. Okay, ang fats kay 30 plus slides na. Okay. Okay, sorry for that. Nangyagyak ng student sa GN. Okay. So, next one, let's talk about fats. Ayan, trigger warning. Say, this is one of the foods that I definitely like eating. Say, okay, maklaro yung slides. Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. So, to continue, we will discuss fats and lipids. Okay, so, ano siya? May mga visuals naman siya. Okay, so, less than 30 pala ito siya. Okay, because there are some visuals on some of the slides. Okay. So next we go to fats and lipids. Okay, so lipids are compounds. If amino acids are the building blocks of our proteins, itong si lipids, yung sa fats. Okay, so lipids are basically compounds, and we have triglycerides, okay, phospholipids, and sterols. Okay, so triglycerides, okay, so this is the fatty content of meat and fats in the body. Okay, they predominate in the diet and in the body. They are composed of three fatty acids plus glycerol. So itong si glycerol, it is a small water-soluble compound. Okay, and I know, makikita ninyo yung mga notes dito. Okay, so just for everyone to see, hindi naman ako stingy sa, sa mga notes. Okay, so lipids are further defined as organic substances that are greasy and insoluble in water. When you say insoluble in water, hindi siya nadidissolve. Okay, it simply floats in water. However, if you place lipids in alcohol, nadidissolve siya. Okay, na-absorb siya ng alcohol. They are the same components as carbohydrates but with higher proportion of hydrogen. Okay? Now, as for fats, fats are lipids that are solid at room temperature. Oils, on the other hand, these are lipids that are liquid at room temperature. Okay? So that's for your first slide, for your triglycerides. Yes. Ay, nag-surprise ka?
Ay, ano, natamaan po kasi yung may bulb.
Sige.
Pwede ko samahan. Pwede ko po samahan.
Sige, you can go to that clinic. Okay. Okay, for that. Okay. To continue, okay, fatty acids. Okay, so these are organic compounds with a chain of carbon atoms with hydrogen attached and an acid group at one end differ in chain length and saturation. Okay, so this is on the biochemistry side. So chain length, this refers to the number of carbons, okay, in fatty acids. Now, when you talk about saturation, this refers to its chemical structure. So, especially the number of hydrogen, the carbon in the fatty acids are holding. Okay? So, the more hydrogen atoms attached to those carbons, the more saturated the fatty acid. Okay? So, just please to know. Parang video ito siya dapat. Try it out. Okay. Sige. May naka-attach kasi na video before with regards to the structure of fatty acids. But then, for some reason, ayaw niya mag-play. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so again, wag masyado magpa-stress doon sa mga chemical composition, chemical buildup. Okay, so what matters to us nurses is yung knowledge on the different foods, okay, health teachings and nutrition, especially yung diet management. Huwag masyado magpa-stress doon sa mga chemical compositions. Okay? So, next, fatty acids are classified according to saturation. Okay? So, the degree of their concentration. Okay? So, number one, we have saturated fatty acids or your SFA. So, there are more hydrogen atoms attached to those carbon atoms. They're fully loaded with hydrogen and have only single bonds with carbon. Next, you have unsaturated fatty acids or your UFA. So your hydrogen atoms are missing in the fatty acid chains. The degree of unsaturation of the fatty acids in a fat influences the health of the body. Okay? So basically, the more hydrogen, the more saturated. Okay, so that's the main thing that you have to understand or remember. Okay. We have mono unsaturated fatty acids. So from the name itself, it only has 1 point of unsaturation. Next, you have your polyunsaturated fatty acids or your UFA. they have more points of unsaturation. Now, the next classification is according to physical characteristics. So, meron tayong hard and soft fats. So, first we have unsaturated fatty acids. They are soft at room temperature and they melt more easily. Hala, gutom na to. Okay, so examples of these are chicken fats are less saturated and soft. Okay, so next, vegetable oil is the most unsaturated because it is liquid at room temperature. Okay, so based on this, okay, so vegetable oil is definitely the um, healthier option. Again, if you are going to have your recipe modification activity weeks from now, you can always, vegetable oil is one of the best things that you can use in modifying a certain recipe. Kasi less yung kanyang fat content. Okay, next, stability. So stability, when you talk about stability, saturated fats are more resistant to oxidation unless there is a lesser chance for rancidity. So when you talk about rancidity, it is the state of being old and stale. Okay, so your polyunsaturated fatty acids spoil most readily because their double bonds are unstable. Wala, oy, super embarrassing. Basta morning talaga mo, taki jud akong hyperacidic. Okay. So next, okay, erase. Okay, so next, ways used by manufacturer to protect fat-containing products from rancidity. Okay, so to prevent fat-containing products from becoming old or spoiling more easily, these are the things that they observe. Okay, so pansin nyo, okay, so they are sealed airtight and they are refrigerated. Okay, so this is an expensive and an inconvenient storage system. Okay. Next, they also add antioxidants to compete for the oxygen and also to protect the oil. And they also use the process known as hydrogenation. So we talk about hydrogenation, okay, adding hydrogen. Um, to add more terms, okay, so oxidation is your chemical reaction that takes place when a substance comes into contact with oxygen or another oxidizing substance. So one of the good examples of oxidation, although hindi siya nutrition related, yung vitamin C. Okay, for sure, I know there are a lot of you there are some of you who are into skincare. Okay, so there are some skincare products that are quite unstable. Okay, so one of them is yung mga vitamin C containing beauty products, especially yung mga vitamin C serum. So because of their highly unstable nature, they tend to get broken down easily. Okay? Or they tend to be altered more easily. Okay? So they come with the most precautions. So one of the most common precaution for vitamin C is that you have to keep them in a cool uh, you have to store them in a cool place away from sunlight. Why? Because exposure, no, especially if they are out for a long time, can lead to oxidation. Okay? And the telltale sign na malalaman mo na nag-oxidize si vitamin C is that if it will become yellowish in color. Kasi it starts out as clear. Okay? But if it undergoes oxygenation or oxidation rather, it becomes yellow. Hence, yung skincare benefits niya nawawala. Okay? Kasi nag-change siya ng composition. Okay? So, it's basically how you understand your oxidation. Okay? So, um, if you would notice, na yung mga examples of fats in the market, like in margarine, butter, di ba, they come with containers. Okay? So, they really come in sealed containers. Okay? And they are stored in a cool area. Okay? Ideally, dapat naka-refrigerate yung ating mga fats, mga fat-containing products. Okay. So here is a further discussion on hydrogenation. Nutrient. To continue, okay, sorry nangyari. Next one for your hydrogenation. Okay, so this is a process to saturate or all of the points of unsaturation by adding hydrogen atoms. Okay, so advantages of your hydrogenation: it prolongs shelf life, increases the solidity of fats, and then when partially hydrogenated, vegetable oil will become spreadable margarines. Okay, so it makes pie crust flaky and puddings creamy. Ay, uy, makatrigger man siya puto mo. Okay, so just imagine yung mga margarines, yung mga pastries, especially. Okay, so disadvantages of hydrogenation rather. Okay, so it makes polyunsaturated fatty acids more saturated. And then health advantages are lost in hydrogenation. Next, there is a change of fatty acids from S to trans fatty acids. Itong CIS. Okay. Next, you have classifications according to essentiality. So essential fatty acids cannot be made from other substances in the body, and they must be obtained from food or from the diet. Okay, so number one, essential fatty acid, you have linoleic acid or your omega-6 fatty acids. This is found in the seeds of plants and in the oils produced from the seeds. So some food sources are vegetable oils, seeds, nuts, and whole grain. Okay, so that's for omega-6 fatty acids. Okay, so common examples no, of sources where we can get yung mga omega-6 fatty acids. Di ba may tuna? Yung brand ng tuna na may omega-6. I think that was Century Tuna. Okay. Okay, to continue, linolenic acid is an omega-3 fatty acid. So it belongs to a family of polyunsaturated fatty acids. It contains EPA and DHA that are found primarily in fish oil. So your EPA stands for eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, that's your docosahexaenoic acid. Impressive roles in metabolism and disease prevention. They are needed for normal brain development. Because brain has a high content of DHA. Okay, so basically, not all fats were created bad. So may mga fats talaga tayo na essential. Okay? And they have great benefits. So it's a matter of properly those identifying those fats and selecting them. Okay, so DHA. So DHA is also especially active in the rods and cones of the retina of the eye. They're also essential for normal growth and development. They play an important role in the prevention and treatment of heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, and cancer. Now, as for phospholipids, okay, so these examples under phospholipids are lecithin and cephalin. Now, they are found in the brain, bile, and nerve tissues. They are formed basically in all cells of the body. Now, some are circulated in the blood to combine with fatty metabolites. They make phospholipids more water soluble. Okay, so that's for your phospholipids. Okay, so they act as emulsifiers. They help to keep other fats in solution in the watery blood and body fluids. Lecithin is used to build cell membranes. Membranes are made from starch by the liver. And the nice thing about lecithin, this is both soluble in both water and fats. Okay, mga nice to know na details. Okay, sterols. Okay, thirdly, these are the precursor of vitamin D. So we have different types of sterols. The most common, the most familiar one is cholesterol, definitely. Okay, so food sources of cholesterol include the following. Now, only animal-derived foods contain significant amount of cholesterol. Richest sources are liver, kidneys, and eggs. And the less sources with the least amount of cholesterol are cheeses and meats. Okay, so shellfish has more sterols but less in cholesterol. So you have yung fish liver oils. Okay, now as for synthesis and essentiality, this can be made by the body. This is synthesized mainly in the liver, the endogenous. Okay, so inner yung kanyang storage. Okay, can be found inside. Raw materials used by the liver to make cholesterol are glucose and fatty acids. Now, for the routes or roots of cholesterol in the body, okay, they are made into bile, stored in the gallbladder, and delivered into the small intestine to digest fats. They also travel via the bloodstream and to all body cells or membranes of the cell to perform vital, structural, and metabolic functions. Now, as for excretion, bile is released into the small intestine to aid in digestion and absorption of fats. And after digestion, it is reabsorbed in the body and recycled. The rest are excreted in the feces. Now, while the bile is in the small intestine, some of it may be trapped by soluble fibers or by some medications, which carry it out of the body in feces. So basically, our body has that ability to excrete or to release those nutrients or those components that are large in amount, yung hindi kailangan ng body. Okay? So the excretion of bile reduces the total amount remaining in the body. Okay? Okay, next, transport. Okay, so cholesterol packaged with other lipids and proteins leaves the liver by the arteries rather, and is transported to the body tissues by the blood. Now, cholesterol is packaged between lipid and proteins. Okay, so that is what we call your lipoproteins. Okay, so as it travels to the body, it can extract lipids and it may form deposits that can contribute to atherosclerosis, okay, yung plaque formation, okay, a disease that causes heart attacks and strokes. Okay, so bale, if you imagine yung tubing system or pipes, yung pipes natin at home. Okay, and if there are any clogs, imagine having clogs no, or may bara. Okay, so the normal circulation or the normal flow of water would be altered. Okay, so that is why some you may in a certain household, no, tapos if my problem sa tubes or my problem sa piping, meron silang issue sa water distribution. Okay, so same thing with our cardiovascular disease. Our vessels are just like the pipes or tubes placed around, placed within our bodies. And then once there is a clog, no, may bara, especially in the heart, no, that is deadly. Okay, so nakakamatay yung sobrang fats. Kasi yung blood na dapat mag-circulate within your body, and especially in the heart, hindi siya nakaka-move on. Hindi siya nakaka-progress because of the clog. Okay. So next we proceed to the high kinds of cholesterol. Okay, so we have the LDL, okay, low density lipoprotein. This is bad. Okay, so this the form deposits of cholesterol. Next, you have your HDL. So this is known as your high density lipoprotein, okay, which is considered good or good cholesterol. I yes, good cholesterol. Now, this will be trapped and delivered cholesterol out from the body. So na-excrete ito siya. itong LDL, what makes it dangerous or what makes it unhealthy when compared to HDL is that meron mga deposit. May mga naiiwan na components or particles ng LDL. Whereas itong si HDL, it has that ability to travel. Okay, so pwede siya ma-excrete, especially if the body no longer feels the need for it. Next, you have other examples or other kinds of cholesterol. You have ergosterol. Now, this is cholesterol from fat. And your calciferol. Okay, so cholesterol from fish liver oils. Okay. Now, this one. This is where we nurses should be more focused on function, management, familiarity with the healthy chain. So, functions of fat, they provide energy through triglyceride breakdown. So the body's capacity in storing fat is unlimited. So due to enzyme LPA or lipoprotein lipase that promotes fat storage in fat cells and muscle cells. Now, due to the hormone ghrelin, it is produced by the stomach cells that will stimulate appetite. Okay, so ito siya, another background information about ghrelin. For those who tend to sleep late, me included, one of the major effects of sleeping late or not getting enough sleep is that mas lumalabas itong si ghrelin. Kaya, di ba, kaya yung mga tao na hindi they who don't get enough sleep, they tend to overeat. No? Kasi it's because of the uh, overproduction of ghrelin. Okay? So next, you have the adipose tissue. Okay? So this is the body's fat, which consists of masses of fat-storing cells. When there are surplus of energy, new fat cells are easily produced. Next, natural oils in the skin provide radiant complexion. They help nourish the skin and make it oily. Glossy rather. Okay, so it insulates the body against extreme temperature. Okay, kaya yung mga yung mga people who have a lot of fat storage, no? They do not get cold easily. Okay, so good example. Kami yung family ko, yung nag-travel kami in Germany. No? So, my mother and my sister, guys, skinny man sila. So, mas madali sa kanila mag-feel ng cold. Tapos ako, na medyo, round and proud. Tapos, marami akong fat deposits. I'm not really that affected by the cold. So, in a way, no, mas may edge ako compared sa kanila in terms of fat storage. Okay, so I don't get cold that easily. Okay. Next, fats also protect the body's vital organs from shock. Okay, so amazingly, there is hard fat beneath each kidney. So para siyang airbag or natural airbag. Okay? Or para siyang yung question, okay, to splint the kidney in the event of any injury, okay, or sudden force. Next, there is also some fat in women's breasts, okay, to protect the mammary glands. Okay, and also we have another function of fats, okay, is to caution against shock from heat and okay, so you don't have to hate your fats totally. Okay, nakaka-help naman sila kahit pa paano. Sorry, medyo noisy na sa background. Palabas ng ibang students. Okay, so fats in foods. Okay, so just be familiarized with the different types of food here, food sources. So we have helpful fatty acids, the avocados, nuts, oils, olives. For omega-6, you have margarine, mayonnaise, nuts, oil, sunflower, salad dressing seeds. For omega-3, you have fatty fish, salmon, tuna, and flaxseed and nuts. Okay, so just simply familiarize yourselves with these types of food. Kasi it usually, sometimes we get questions like that in the NLE or even in NCLEX. Like, you have a patient with this condition. Okay, so what are the types of food that you can give to that particular patient? Tapos select all that apply, ganun. So may mga cases na gano'n, na may mga questions like that in the NLE. Okay? But mostly in NCLEX kasi makinig talaga magbigay ng select all that apply ang NCLEX. Okay, so for those who are not familiar or for those who still don't know, NCLEX is the licensure examination for nurses in the US. But it can be taken by foreign educated nurses like us Filipino nurses who wish to work in the US. Okay, so yan yung passport natin na a passport or gate pass for us to work in the US. Okay? Yung NCLEX. Again, for those who wish to work abroad, especially US, NCLEX is the way to go. Okay, harmful fatty acids. Okay, so mga saturated fats, you can find them in bacon, butter, cheese, lagoy na si chocolate. Hindi ko pwede stress eat but I need chocolate from time to time. So again, mga kalaban nandito. Okay, cream cheese, lard, meat, milk fat, okay, oils, even yung mga shortening or sour cream. Okay, they are sources of saturated fats. Okay, okay, trans fat. Okay, so itong mga trans fat, these are examples or commercial baked goods made with margarine and shortening, such as cookies, cake, pies. We also have fried foods, especially restaurants and fast foods such as French fries and chicken. So, chicken joy na adiri siya sa trans fat dapit. Okay? Next, you have many fried or processed snack foods such as popcorn, chips and crackers, margarine, non-dairy creamers, and shortening. Yan, yung mga kalaban, okay? May mga fat content. Okay, so this is a table showing the effects of various kinds of fats on blood lipids. Okay, so just kindly be familiarized with this one. For saturated fats, okay, dietary sources, all animal meats, beef tallow, butter, cheese, coconut cream, cocoa butter, so on and so forth. Now, saturated fats increase total cholesterol and yung LDL. Okay, so LDL is the bad cholesterol. Next, for your monounsaturated fatty acids, you can find them in avocados, canola oil, cashews, peanut butter, poultry, olives. Now, if you still replace saturated fats in the diet, monounsaturated fats may decrease total cholesterol, decrease LDL cholesterol without decreasing HDL cholesterol. Okay, so yun yung mga basic functions. Topic nito mahuman. Okay. So next we have omega-3 fatty acids. So examples, again, canola oil, ocean fish, shellfish, soy foods, walnuts. Now, if you replace saturated fats in the diet, omega-3 acid may decrease total cholesterol, decrease LDL, and increase HDL. They also decrease triglycerides. Now, for trans fat, again, nandito halos lahat ng mga kalaban natin. Okay, so it increases total cholesterol and also increases LDL cholesterol. Okay, so enough said about the trans fat. Okay, so fats digestion, again, this is just simply a review on your digestive process, okay, but focusing on fats. Because I'm not going to dwell on this for too long. Okay, so ito yung sequence, ito yung parts involved. And lastly, we have pictures. Okay, so as I've said, no, never come to Nutri class on an empty stomach because you will only be frustrated, or you will be, you might be distracted by the visuals of the food in every PowerPoint. Okay, so sources of healthy oil, we have flaxseed, avocado oil, olive oil. Okay. We also have canola, peanut oil, and coconut oil. Okay, so we have walnut oil, sesame. So just introducing you to the different kinds of nuts, yung mga fats rather. So, I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, and then here I'm going to give you your activity.